Alright, I wanted to talk about some comments I got on a video I recently did about some drama in the streamer guild in hardcore classic WoW, OnlyFangs. Now, this drama was pretty ridiculous, particularly on this guy Penta. I felt like he was stepped way out of line, was being a ridiculous bully and a full-on moron, as he was blatantly incorrect, and trying to act like Zico was a moron, calling him autistic and all these awful things, which is fine, you know. I don't have like a giant issue with that, but just what I have an issue with is the argument that this Penta guy was making was 100% false. Like, you're calling other people idiots when you're the idiot, when your argument is blatantly incorrect. So the comment I got says, "You are way too invested, my man. Take a step back." Which is a valid comment. But once you think about it, no, it isn't. First of all, you clicked on a 15-minute video that was titled OnlyFangs Guild Drama from me, a random guy on YouTube. What were you expecting? Me to not talk about the drama? Maybe I got a little bit more intense than you were expecting. So I'm going to give some context as to why I cared enough to even hit record and talk about this topic and why I care about it. Because I don't care about this streamer guild, this tiny drama in this streamer guild. It's completely meaningless even to the guild OnlyFangs itself. Even like the people involved, the guy who got talked over doesn't even care, right? Like, he's totally fine. But I don't care either. It's even more meaningless to me. But on this channel, this Jasper channel here on YouTube, we focus on helping people. Helping people mostly by helping them self-improve. That's how you help people the majority of the time. Now, why this matters is because it's not about this streamer guild. It's not about World of Warcraft. It's not about these people involved. No. The thing is, you will encounter this in your life. Like, all of us have encountered stuff like this at least a couple of times. And you'll, especially in a workplace, you will encounter this, right? Whether you want to understand it or not, these streamers in these guilds, in this guild, they're at work. This is their job. They are like co-workers to an extent. Now, they can just go stream something else, so they're not co-workers in the way of like normal jobs where they're usually like locked in and stuck with these people and these conflicts brew in the same way, but it's kind of similar. And you'll encounter these jackasses in your life, like this guy Penta. And it's important that you learn how to deal with that. Because on this channel, most of what I talk about is dating. I want to give advice to guys who really struggle with their dating life. And that extends to their life in general. The best way you can help somebody in their dating life is to help them in their life overall, right? Like, if the biggest problem you can have in dating as a man is confidence issues. And you're going to gain a ton of confidence by getting your life together. And one way you kind of do that, right? Because you're going to encounter these situations in life where there are people where you're going to be in arguments with people, such as coworkers, where there's actually kind of like stuff at stake. And you're going to encounter bullies like this guy Penta, who will sit there and argue their point over and over again, even though they're dead wrong. Even though their argument doesn't make sense and is provably false. Literally, I encountered this through like Mizkif, the OnlyFangs guild drama guy, going over this, watching the video of exactly what was said between these people, and this guy Penta was 1000% in the wrong, and he tried to make the argument that they let the guy speak. So what do you mean you were interrupted? You're an idiot. You're an idiot if you think the guy was interrupted. Watch the video. And in the video, the guy gets interrupted like 4 times in a row, continually isn't allowed to speak, is noticeably frustrated with the fact that he is not being allowed to speak and being interrupted. And eventually, they let him speak. So, the fact that this douchebag, Penta, repeatedly tries to push this argument, tries to shout this argument and shout these other people down and saying, oh, well, this guy wasn't interrupted at all. What do you mean? We let him speak. We let him speak for 30 seconds uninterrupted. That's moronic. That's completely false. Just because you eventually let the guy speak doesn't mean that you didn't interrupt the guy repeatedly. You were a total jerk to this guy. That's what happened. And so it's important in life that you acquire the ability to be able to hold an argument, to have an argument, and to win an argument. That's especially important in a workplace, right? Because Zico, in this situation, and the guy who got interrupted, I forget the guy's name, were 100% in the right, and this Penta guy was 100% in the wrong, right? Like, there's no doubt about it, but people were being persuaded to this Penta guy's side in this argument just because he's like, what do you mean? Well, we let the guy talk for 30 seconds, uninterrupted. We let the guy talk. And I think even like Julia or somebody was in the call and said, yeah, we let the guy talk. And it was kind of like, they were kind of like changing Ms. Kiff's mind, which imagine this is like an actual workplace, because it kind of is. People have got kicked out of this guild. Like Pilaf and Sequisha just got kicked out of this guild. This kind of stuff actually has consequences to these people's jobs and their income. It really does, right? Like, it means nothing to me. I don't care about any of these people. I don't personally know any of these people. It's completely meaningless. But I'm talking about this because I want my viewers, not the randoms who clicked on this because they care about, because they're entertained by the guild OnlyFangs. I'm talking about the people who've watched a bunch of my videos and commented on my videos and have thought about the things I've talked about and applied them into their real lives and grown as people. This is an extension of that, which that's what my channel is all about, man. We're about positivity. We're about growth. We're about navigating life, right? And so it's an important skill that you be able to defeat these bullies, right? Because, like I said, this Penta guy had Julia on his side, there's someone else who is being like, yeah, that makes sense. We let the guy speak. No, that doesn't make sense. That's wrong. You did let the guy speak, but that doesn't undo what was done prior to that, leading up to that. The lead up is way more important. And that's all Zico was saying in the situation was, you let the guy talk, but you kept interrupting him. That's the problem here. That's why the guy was upset. Like, and it's not more complex than that, but they try to make it seem like it's something that it's not, right? And yeah, it's not important. It's inconsequential even to the guild OnlyFangs. The guy who was interrupted literally came in the call later and said he doesn't care. And so it doesn't even matter to the people involved. But situations like this can occur that actually have major consequences, that can get people fired from their jobs, and could get somebody, like, even in the context of this streamer guild, could get you kicked out of the guild, which would affect your job, would affect your income, right? So I personally could not care less about any of these people, right? Like, I like some of them. I really, I wish nothing but the best for almost all of them, pretty much everyone except for this Penta douchebag, because he's a bully who, he's not just a bully, but he's trying to bully people, trying to tell people that they're idiots, when he himself is the idiot, is completely incorrect and refuses to see it and is just arguing a point that is completely invalid. So yeah, like, people out there, you got to learn how to have an argument and how to win an argument and not give up when you've won the argument, right? Like, Zico handled it really well. And like I explained in my video, I went into this not even liking Zico, but Zico was 100% in the right. Zico just like shut down. He's just like, well, like whatever, because he realizes it's completely moronic. But Zico was 100% in the right. And viewers, when you're in the right, it's important that you are able to articulate that you're right. Especially, like I said, most of what we talk about on this channel is like being in a relation, dating and getting dates and finding a relationship and finding happiness. It's important. It's important in so many things, right? It's important. Like you yourself in your personal life could end up, somebody could accuse you of something. You could end up talking to the police about whatever the hell, right? Like almost any man who has ever been in a custody battle in his life has been falsely accused of multiple crimes. Some literally in the triple digits of false accusations hurled their way. Like you could end up in court, which a lot of ending up in court, you're doing a lot of the work for your lawyer. That's at least how it works here in Canada. It's just such an incredibly valuable tool. And it honestly helps in relationships, right? There's going to be times, now obviously you want to avoid arguments, but there's going to be times where being good at arguing can come in handy enormously. And that's what I care about, is I want people out there to not only be able to have the tools to stand up for themselves by being able to win an argument, but also stand up for other people. For those who maybe don't have the ability or the means to stand up for themselves, or they're just not in the mood to stand up for themselves, like the way that Zico was standing up for this guy who got interrupted, because that guy unquestionably, objectively, was repeatedly interrupted and treated like dirt. That is what happened. There is no denying it. So yeah, so another comment I got was someone commented and saying that it would have been nice if in the video I had included the Sardaco-Zico drama. Now that would take like 50 times the effort that I put into these videos. And in particular, hunting down the specifics, I would have to make like a full edited long video about this Sardaco-Zico drama, because it spanned hours and hours of stream. Like Zico literally held a undead vote, like almost all the undead who are online, a like 40 to 50 player vote, which took hours to get them all to go to Orgrimmar. Well, Sardaco was refusing to go to Orgrimmar. He had all the gear from that week's tribute chest, and he was distributing it to the undead that he saw fit. So he was trying to contact these specific undead players to give them the gear that he saw that he thought they deserved. And some of them were like, well, I'm being told that the undead are going to Orgrimmar. Like, I don't know if I should really be taking this from you. It was like at least like an over 3 hour thing going on, which involved people talking to Sardaco, people talking to Zico, this like literally like a whole political campaigns as to whether or not they should vote Sardaco into the Gurubashi arena, as they did with was it Sequisha was who they sent into the arena early on in OnlyFangs, something like that. So it was like you'd have to make almost like a 45-minute video and put a ton of editing and stuff just to explain like what happened there with Sardaco and Zico. But yeah, originally I went into the start of watching this guild not really liking Sardaco. Then that stuff with Zico, trying to get Sardaco sent into the arena, kind of made me like Sardaco, because I'm like, this is a step too far. This is not really justice. This is too much. Too much. This is an abuse of power by Zico. So it kind of turned me sour on Zico and made me like Sardaco a little bit. Now that Sardaco is reformed, I don't mind him, but he kind of gets a little lippy with his guildmates. So yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about this. And this is kind of like a main inspiration of the things that I talk about on this channel. Just look at my recent uploads. I care a lot about, I don't know, people, holding people accountable, giving them an understanding of themselves, mostly through giving them examples of other people. The most recent video I did was about this like crazy incel guy who is just totally out in outer space, who needs a giant wake-up call. And sometimes it's not that serious. Sometimes most people out there don't need that. Most people aren't some like weirdo extremist. I'm kind of aiming for the people who are fixable, who are savable, who are can kind of see in other people and maybe a little bit in themselves where people have gone down the wrong path, stumbled, where they're making errors in their lives, and how they could I want to help people streamline things in their life to find happiness, right? And the problem with life is there's a lot of assholes like this guy Penta, and learning how to deal with them, like a douchebag of the highest caliber who just talks over you repeatedly, that's a pretty valuable skill, right? Like, if you could if you're somebody who can't take on a bully, and through thinking about it a little bit, can give you the tool to be able to take on a bully who's going to try to, like, turn people to see things their way when that's not really logical because they're 100% wrong in the situation. Because that happens, right? Like, that happens so often in life where people will turn or try to turn people against other people. It happens all the time. It happens every day, right? And it's just this guild OnlyFangs, this particular drama really did get me tilted, because it reminds me of times this has happened to me, times this has happened to people that I know. Now, I'm somebody where if anything like that ever happens, I'm 100% sticking up for whoever's in the right. But I also just remove people from my life. Like, if anyone who's like this Penta douchebag, who's just willfully ignorant and just obnoxious and thinks if they just talk over people and just be loud, that somehow makes them correct, they're just out of my life. I cut, you're gone. I don't got one moment for you, right? And thing is that that's not always feasible. Sometimes because these people could be in your family or somebody that you work with, somebody you're just like stuck with, right? And maybe you don't have the capacity because of what your occupation is. Maybe this person's your boss. I'm lucky to where anyone who's even remotely like that, I happen to have the ability to just cut them out. But if that was my boss, luckily it's not, but if I had a boss who was like that, I'd be stuck with them. There'd be nothing I could do besides just get another job, which isn't always the best. Also, that's also not even an option for a lot of people, right? So yeah, I'll probably talk about more drama in the future, but I don't care about these people. I don't know any of these streamers personally. Who's right and who's wrong is kind of like, it's basically meaningless to me, but it's weird, right? Like, obviously it's meaningless, it's inconsequential, but within that meaningness, there's a lot of meaning. And that's kind of true of everything in life. Everything that we experience, everything that we talk about. And I love talking about this stuff. I don't know why. I don't know. You tell me.